Hey guys, welcome to Becca Scoops or welcome back. I am Becca Scoops and I have a great video lined up for you guys today. I hope you guys are doing well. Of course, I got my security pet here, Keekins. She's going to be joining us for the video and we're going to be doing some this and that in this video. We're going to be taking a look at some current day Gypsy Rose Blanchard videos, and we're going to compare and contrast her with another notorious convicted female murderer who, much like Gypsy, got a plea deal, much like Gypsy, got out of prison. And let's take a look at how they compare and contrast. It's really interesting because they're both notorious cases, both got kind of similar sentences. So we're going to cover that. We're going to cover a little bit of Ryan as comedy relief. He had a little pet emergency during one of his TikTok lives and also something else he did. So we'll take a look at that. And we're also going to take a look at stuff that I didn't know about the case, namely that a real independent investigative journalist was first investigating the case right when the murder happened back in 2015. I had no idea. I know who this person is. I was like, what? And that information comes thanks to 1 ounce of Jameson, who is a YouTube person on TikTok. So thanks to her. I guess she's been following the case since 2015 and sent me these files. And I was just like, what? Who? This person? This investigative journalist actually had pretty close did have access to Christy Blanchard and an interesting tidbit that this investigative journalist shared. I'm pretty sure they didn't stay on the case, but we're going to hear in her own words what happened when Rod left Dee Dee. It's interesting. What else do I got planned for you? Oh, we're going to do some Gypsy in the case, some things. We're going to do some timeline lining up again. And so, yeah, it's a lot. We're going to get to it. I'll try to get through it as quickly as I can. So, you know how we do it here. Go get your snacks, get your beverage of choice, get your pet of choice, settle in and spend a little time with me. But before I get to all of that, the first thing I want to do, because this is so exciting to me, I was sent an email from a senior in high school who is, yes, 18 years old. And she sent me an email. And let me share it. Her name is Morgan. Morgan did her senior project on the Gypsy Rose Blanchard case, guys. And right there you see, and I'm going to show you it in a minute. Morgan says, did my senior project on Gypsy, got probably all of my info from you, LOL. And then I wrote her back because I'm going to show you what she sent me, the kind of like a picture of a part of the project. And she says, hey, Becca, because I asked her, are you interested in first, how old are you? And then are you interested in criminal justice? Senior year is an exciting time. You try to start thinking, what do I want to do with my life? And so she wrote back, hey, Becca, I've always been interested in crime investigations and interviews. And when Gypsy got out of prison, I started seeing evidence against her. And just her entire personality is interesting, how she constantly lies. And yes, you can use it in a video. I am 18, so it should be good. Just block out my last name. I'm totally cool with my first name being public. People in my class saw my poster, which I'm going to show you in a minute, guys. And we're asking questions about Dee Dee and being abusive and Gypsy's lies. It was really awesome to finally rant about the case, LOL. Also, I've been watching your videos for at least a year or more now. Okay, so let's take a look. If this is, right? Part of what I see a lot in the comments and things that we've talked about on this channel is how we are worried. So many moms out there, dads, brothers, sisters, whoever, that, don't want Gypsy influencing the young people, right? And here's a young person, well, that did their senior project on it, and let me bring it up. So there's Morgan's senior project. Gypsy should get life in prison with Nick. She writes at the top. Gypsy Rose Blanchard blamed her mother of medically abusing her to justify killing her. And then she's got some pictures. Gypsy lies about her medical history to minimize her part in the crime. And then she writes Gypsy was diagnosed with the 1q21.1, a rare chromosome disorder. Gypsy manipulated a level 2 autistic man to commit the crime for her. Gypsy blamed Nick for murder and set up evidence against him. This, Morgan, congrats on your senior project. Congrats on being a senior and, such an exciting time. And thank you so much, Morgan, with sharing this with me and my channel. I was so excited to see it, and best wishes, Morgan, on your future, whatever you decide to do. All right, guys, let's go ahead and get into the rest of this video now. Usually I bring up at this point, we're going to go ahead and look at something Gypsy's done recently, and then we'll get to the more serious stuff. So Gypsy did put out a video that's kind of raising some cane on social media. She had to turn the comments off on this video. Let's go ahead and take a look at it together.
And to that 9.3 million.
Hold on, I got to back it up. Here we go.
Like this because I don't do like a whole lot of opinions about stuff, but I'm just gonna kind of keep it on just my feelings and my feelings alone. So I have 9.3 million followers, and to that 9.3 million followers, I see you. You are a human being, and I might not know every single one of your names, but I will say that I see you. I appreciate.
I see you. You are a human being. Thank you for confirming we are human beings. Okay. I know. It's petty. I know.
You, because without you, I would not have a platform that I have. I'd just be another face in the crowd, honestly.
Gypsy would never just be another face in the crowd. And I'm going to prove it when I bring up this next convicted murderer. Once you're convicted of murder and it's a notorious case, like either you killed your mom or like the next person I'm going to bring up, the crimes she committed, yeah, I don't think you're ever a face in the crowd. This other person, her name's Carla Homolka. She was a Canadian. Probably a lot of you at least recognize the name. I'm going to get to her because she tried to do the opposite of what Gypsy's doing.
Yeah, I have my story, but I mean, it's followers like you that, make me, still popular today, I guess. And so to you, I say, I see you and I appreciate you. And there has been times that people have reached out to me in DMs that were like, hey, I am late on my mortgage. Hey, I'm having a baby and I don't have any baby items. And I have sent, I've sent.
She's not, is she? Is she actually using some type of charity giving that she did? Is she actually showing a receipt for it? Isn't that the opposite of charity in a way? Isn't charitable things, aren't they usually done in the, you're not supposed to go brag. Hey, you know what I did? You know what I did? I helped this person. Hey, you know what I did? We're going to help this person. This is self-serving, obviously. I'm going to show you my receipt. It's just tone deaf.
Cash out money to followers. I have sent Aurora's old baby items.
Why is she doing this? What are you trying to prove here? You're a giver? You don't know. Didn't she run this by anyone? What happened to that PR team? Didn't you run this by anyone? Hey, do you think it's a great idea if I go and say, hey, you know what? I'm giving people shit and I can show receipts and then everyone will like me?
To a follower. And it's it's a humanity thing. No, I don't.
What's with the humanity? You're human and it's a humanity thing. Yeah, humanity thing. I mean, we're human. Yeah. Oh, the buzzwords, you know?
Have millions of dollars to just give out to everybody. I've got
Did anyone ask you to give out millions of dollars to somebody? I don't understand what's happening here. Help me.
responsibilities of my own, but if I have it to spare, I'm going to try to help other people out. Okay,
Great. You know what? Doing this means you're doing it so you can use it to your own advantage. Doing it this way is you're using it to your own advantage, right? It's just so tone deaf. Just incredible.
PSA and rant over. Bye. Love you guys.
Whatever. How you guys do that? I don't know. Keekins, help me. All right, so we got that. She's a giver. She's Mother Teresa. She is the murderer. Mother Teresa, murderer. That's her. And yeah. No. All right, so there was that. Now, let's get to Ryan and then we're going to get to the serious stuff. Let's get to Ryan and his pet emergency. There's another thing about Ryan in this video, so bear with me when I start to play it. He's going to do his "Do you know who I am? Do you know who I am?" routine, and that always gets a chuckle out of me because he really, really likes people to know who he is. Let me go ahead and get that video.
Buddies, and they were always at my house. Let's call them J, one J and one T. All right, think of names on their own. All right, but J and T, and they were great friends of mine. Great friends of mine. They were over my house every week. I loved them. And Pixie, you pooped right on the floor.
Pixie, you pooped right on the floor. What's happening? Wait a minute. I'm pretty sure Pixie's a couple years old and is pretty housebroken and takes Pixie out on walks, and he's doing his so-called story time on his TikTok. It says, "Pixie, you just pooped on the floor." Okay. You guys have got to see the rest of this too. It's so funny. Hold on. I got to get to the rest of it.
All right, think of names on their own. All right, but J and T, and they were great friends of mine. Great friends of mine. They were over my house every week. I loved them. And Pixie, you pooped right on the floor. Pixie just pooped on my floor. She did it during the live. He knows we want a Gypsy story.
She did it during the live. She did it right there during the live.
Well, the Meadow, the Tyler part's right.
Now, what's going on here? I mean, obviously, I think he's, we know, but he's just Pixie pooped. Time out. We're going to have to go take care of that poop.
But, all right. So, yeah, Pixie pooped. Hold on. Pixie, when did you do this? When I'm battling the girl, Pixie just pooped right there on the floor. Pixie, I took you for a walk and everything. I'm like,
is Pixie pissed? I mean, I'm a dog owner. I've had dogs for, 20, 30, as long as I've been an adult. Even when I was a kid, we had dogs. I mean, once the dog is housebroken, they usually, do not do that. They usually do not, go in the house. Like, they'll go to the door. They'll get anxious. Let me out, where they know that they're supposed to do their business, right? And so I'm wondering if, what's going on with Pixie? What's going on? Is okay.
Poor Pixie. You have to use the bathroom. Poor Pixie. I'm not even going to flush you, Pixie.
What?
Not even going to flush you.
I'm not even going to flush it.
Anyway, my buddy Tyler got caught.
Then he flushes the toilet.
Didn't get caught, but I don't know what he was thinking. He went in my spare bathroom and
now he's going to tell this really weird story about his friend, and it has to do with his friend's penis. I can't make it up.
And he somehow got soap in his, you know what I'm talking about. He somehow got soap in his Johnson. All right. So me and my friend Jay were laughing were you humping a soap bottle or something? What were you doing?
Don't do that. Don't say that. The majority of his audience is women.
So we laughed about it, and then but he was screaming because he was like, "Ah, it hurts, it hurts." So my friend Jake looked at me, and Tyler was somebody who believed Jake. See, I just said his name, Jake. Believed Jake, like thought Jake hung the moon or something. I don't know, just believed him. And so Jake said, "This is gonna sound crazy, Tyler. This is gonna sound crazy, but it works." Yeah, I know. So much for the initials, right? So much for the initials. He looked Tyler square in the face and said, "If it's burning, you know what you need to do? You need to open your pee hole and spray cologne in it, and it'll kill the burn instantly." And I remember looking at Jake like, "What?" And he's like, "Watch this." And Tyler, all of a sudden, we went in there and we hear like seriously. I looked at Jake and was like, "Dude, are you serious?" And he's like, "Watch. He's about to do it." And sure enough, all you hear is this in the bathroom. You hear, and he went to screaming as loud as he could.
Okay, done. Now, just really quick, let's go ahead and take a look at the whole. Do you know who I am, real quick? Okay, because it's always kind of just good for a chuckle,
People will be like mean to me or try to say
who's your
crazy
ex?
stuff. I don't really want to say.
Okay. Thank you, Sunny.
She just said, "Who's your ex?" Because he's saying, "Oh, I'm married to a notorious." I think he's going to say that, or he just said it.
That's okay. You don't have to.
I appreciate it.
Oh, my cat's going nuts. You're famous. They love you.
Oh, that's what's up. I married somebody infamous. So thank you.
Okay.
I think it's cool that you didn't know and you just wanted to battle me.
I think it's cool you didn't know, meaning you didn't know who I was, because I'm kind of an important person around here, right? And that you just wanted to battle me anyways, that you weren't seeking my clout. Wow, that's cool. You weren't seeking my clout.
That's awesome.
Oh, well, I gave you a follow. You can battle me anytime. I literally battle a very small circle of people because
Well,
I'm
Wendy,
like,
I just followed you too, sweetie. That's awesome.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
Absolutely. Where are you from?
Ohio, Columbus, Ohio. How about you?
Columbus. I am from Louisiana. You know how Louisiana's a boot?
Yeah.
I'm at the boot heel.
Oh, awesome.
Like-
okay.
like
So
40
was
minutes
that
away from
close
the
to
Gulf.
like Hurricane Katrina?
No, I was on Hurricane Laura. Hurricane Laura went right over my hometown. Rhea more. But Katrina, I was 18 years old when Katrina hit. I lived in North Louisiana at the time. But I'm like 3.5 hours away from New Orleans. So I'm like closer to Texas.
Okay.
Yeah. So Columbus, so if I were to go OH, what would you do?
IO.
Hey, at least you did it. I love that you did that.
There's a lot of Ohioans on this app.
Really? Well,
Yes.
I talked to somebody from Ohio, and when I first did it, they kind of looked at me funny. I was like, "Come on, you got to know that." And then they got it. But you're the first one to really just like jump right in it. So I love that.
Well, I battle a lot of guys. Well, I shouldn't say a lot. I battle several guys on here, and they're all very much into Ohio.
Okay. Yeah. See, I'm an LSU guy.
Okay.
So, yeah. Right on. So is that a grill behind you?
My 22-year-old is screaming and just came out here. Mom, who are you battling?
Oh yeah. Does she know who you're battling?
Yes. She's like, Mom, I can't believe you don't know who that is.
He loves it. Mom, I can't believe you don't know who that is. Look at his face. It has made his night.
I don't get out much.
I love that. See, like people are telling me like I have haters come in my life and they're like, "You're irrelevant. Nobody knows who you are." Well, that just proves them wrong. So
I'm
Some teen girl in Ohio knew who he was, and everyone's wrong. And I don't like major shade, but I mean, come on, right? You know how Ryan does it.
sorry, but if what I've just been told about you, you're very relevant. I am irrelevant, but I have so many haters on this app. When you have haters, it makes you so much more relevant. Like they only help us.
I totally agree with you, Wendy. Like,
I hate it. Like if you can't be nice, like what are you doing?
All right, so that's about it. I just thought I'd share that with you yes, I have my new neon green, squeeze ball. And yeah, let's move on and let's get to some of the serious stuff, guys. That will do it for Ryan for today. Pixie pooped, and do you know who I am? That sums it up, right? Okay. I want to get to this investigative journalist who actually, I had no idea they got close with Christy right after the murder. And her name is Tracy Beans. She goes by the name Tracy Beans. Her real name is Tracy Diaz, but Tracy, and I'm not, outing her. It's right there. She was born Tracy Diaz. She's got 750,000 followers over on X. She's a journalist, activist, blogger, writer, online content creator, businesswoman, entrepreneur, social media presence, yada, yada, yada. One of her prominent investigative journalism pieces involved Loretta Lynch. She was one of the first journalists to interview George Papadopoulos after his release from prison. Okay, so that's who she is. She's in independent. Okay, so I guess she didn't continue on covering it because I couldn't find anything, but I did find, thanks to 1 ounce of Jameson who sent me these clips. Tracy Bean is talking to a woman who was a good friend of Dee Dee. And this very good friend of Dee Dee and her had a pretty major falling out, obviously, before Dee Dee's death. And so she had problems with Dee Dee. Let's just put it that way, just for a little background here of what's going to be said here. So Tracy says, no one is saying that Dee Dee didn't have problems. That goes without saying. Her mother did too, from what Christy and others have said. Remember, Tracy, before I get to this, let me show you. So Tracy was doing investigative reporting on the case at the time. Christy was running to anyone who would listen, so she went to her. Anyone who admined a Gypsy case Facebook page got the message regarding Christy from Tracy to post it on their page. So, and we'll come back to some other things Tracy says there. But let's go ahead and continue. Christy and Rod need to just stop their PR campaign and admit to themselves that they didn't do right by Gypsy and that things could have turned out much differently had they tried a little harder. They didn't do right by Rod's other daughter either. And as most of you know, Rod had 2 women pregnant at the same time. That was Dee Dee and this other woman. And so that's the other daughter that Tracy is talking about. Now, this friend of Dee Dee, who I guess they had a falling out, she says, I have absolutely no compassion whatsoever for Dee Dee. And the other thing I want to say about the comments that this friend of Dee Dee is making is that this was right after the murder. And so the narrative had already been spun that Dee Dee had been this abusive monster. And so because people didn't have all the information, they were just hearing one side of the story, they didn't know, right? I mean, that's why we're here today. You know, if you only hear one side of the story, you don't hear the other, that's what's going on here. And so I don't know if this friend still feels this way, possibly not, possibly not today. So I don't want to, that's why I'm not really revealing her name. She goes on, Dee Dee knew exactly what she was getting into. I think she thought getting pregnant for Rod would make Christy go away, but it didn't. Rod was trying to do the right thing, but it didn't work because he loved Christy. That is my opinion. Then Tracy says, the investigative journalist, were you aware that the night before Rod left Dee Dee, he had been over at Christy's mom's getting advice from her as what to do and say to Dee Dee? Okay, stop the presses here. Wait. And Tracy heard this from Christy. And Tracy is a real investigative journalist. Okay. So this isn't gossip. This is someone that has some sort of a reputation. Okay. So I'm just like, whoa. He stayed half the night there, meaning Rod stayed half the night over at Christy mom's house. I guess Christy was probably living there too at the time, talking with her, according to Christy. So when Tracy says, according to Christy, that means she heard this directly from Christy. Then Tracy goes on, shouldn't he maybe have spoken to his own family? Shouldn't Christy's mom send him away and told him it wasn't appropriate for her to be giving the advice? These are great questions, guys. It also brings into focus that possibly, Rod and Dee Dee were only together in their marriage, like, I'm going to say 3 months. No more than 6 months. So to me, this kind of indicates that Christy was always in the background. And that's what even this other friend is indicating, that, well, Rob was always in love with Christy. So that there was this other, Christy was already on the scene in a romantic nature. Which, okay, right? I mean, guy can date as many women as he wants, but then Dee Dee gets pregnant, right? And he chooses to marry Dee Dee. Okay. So the next thing, that after Tracy asked her those questions about, hey, what was Rod doing over at Christy's mom's house half the night, and talking to her about what to tell Dee Dee about why I'm going to leave her, the friend says, I know everyone makes mistakes. We should not condemn them for their past. I know that they have both said they wish things would have been different. Okay, so the friend is at least kind of acknowledging that there was something that probably wasn't right that went on there. The friend goes on, they are being supportive of her now and are going to try to make things better for her. Of course, they're talking about Gypsy because Dee Dee's dead at this point. I just hope that one day I can sit down and talk to Gypsy and apologize for not doing anything about her abuse. So right there, this friend is buying it, hook, line, and sinker, the whole abuse narrative. She goes on, I had a feeling she was being abused, but never did anything about it. I feel guilty sometimes. Okay. So there is that. And the next thing, just a couple more tidbits. I read to you about what Tracy is. Tracy wrote up here, Tracy was getting a little snarky on some of these Facebook pages. She says, let's not forget about the lap blanket she's making. She's talking about Christy. She's making for Gypsy with the 6 dresses Rod and Christy brought back for her. Here, hun, here is a nice lap blanket I made for you to remind you of the mother you hated so much that you killed her. Happy get out of jail day, baby. Now, this is pretty certain. These comments are around the time Gypsy's going to be released, I think. I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure. Or I'm not sure. Let me just not say that at this point. The next one down, Tracy also says, just found out that Gypsy has a roommate. She's been by herself for a couple of weeks. So this is right after the murder, this part. Prior to that, she was in a bay with other women that protected her. What is so weird about Gypsy's new roommate is that she's my cousin by marriage. And then another thing, this is when I think Hulu was coming out. I want to be in the movie, Tracy wrote. Interesting about where Rod was the night before he separated from Dee Dee. Okay, I'm going to switch gears here a little bit, and I want to get to the woman who I'm comparing, to the comparison and contrasting. And before I do that, I want to show this video of Gypsy from a few months ago.
I still kind of collect royalties from my book. Any business plans? I don't really know yet. Right now I'm just kind of like, I'm doing my artwork. That keeps me busy. I still kind of collect royalties from my book. I don't know what business field I would want to go into. Now, once upon a time, last year, I had conversations with people in the industry about becoming a producer. And
I know some of you have seen this. I just still, because of what I'm going to show you next, just some of this is really, and where's the podcast, by the way? Remember the podcast? I mean, did that fall through? I'm just wondering.
Working on perhaps.
For those, sorry to keep interrupting. For those of you that don't know, at the beginning of the year, this year, 2026, Gypsy made a few videos saying that she was so excited that she was working with a team to bring a podcast. And then in another video, she asked her followers, hey, who would you like to see me interview first for my podcast? Okay.
Perhaps a documentary, docu-follow style, similar to what they did with me with the prison confessions. So I would essentially returned to Chillicothe to be the interviewer and interview women that and share their stories, because there's still so many women that are in Chillicothe that they're.
So basically what she's saying here is that she wants to still be in the limelight. If this opportunity came up, absolutely, she still wants to be out there, right? She doesn't want to go away and live a quiet life.
Stories do not get recognized, and that's such a shame. So I would love to come back behind the camera as like a producer type of thing.
Okay. Now, this other person, Karla Homolka, also different kind of crimes, but both convicted of murder. Of course, Gypsy murdered her mother, where Karla helped murder her sister. I got some stuff to show here about Karla Homolka. She got out, and well, before I show you this, let me just give you a little background of Karla Homolka, because it's going to be interesting to see. They're very similar in their plea deal that they got. How it was like they were calling this the Ken and Barbie murderers. There's Karla with her husband Paul, and he was like the dominant one, so to speak, in this relationship, or is what they said. And they went on to murder her sister, 2 other women, and then really hurt another woman that I think got away. And so Karla played a major role in all of these murders, drugging these women, abusing these women, helping her husband carry out these crimes. A lot of them were videoed, I'm pretty sure. I'm not up totally like an expert or even a novice in that case at all, but from what I remember. And so, okay, so that's the Ken and Barbie murder. So here's Karla. She gets out, right? She gets out and she marries. No, let me show you this video first. This is what you guys need to see first. Hold on.
Prison lawyer. The couple had not one, got married to the brother of the prison lawyer.
So Karla got married to the brother of her attorney, basically.
The couple had not one, not 2, 3 children together. Obviously, this news caused public uproar and just outrage, particularly because of her involvement of the horrific crimes against her sister, as well as Leslie and Christian. The idea that she is now a mother raising children shocked many Canadians, and frankly, anybody who followed this case. Despite her attempts to live anonymously, Karla's presence continued to make headlines whenever she was found living in a new community. Now, in 2012, reports did claim that she had been living in the Caribbean. I remember those reports. I always thought that's where she was to this day. But actually, in 2016, it was reported that she is back in Canada. And in 2017, the media confirmed that she is actually.
So the point here is Karla had 3 kids, and she was trying to not have notoriety. She was trying to she didn't want people to know who she was. She was raising her kids. I'm not giving her brownie points at all. I'm just saying, I think that's the more normal response, right? And I only think the reason that Gypsy is seeking the limelight in that is because that people believe that she's a victim, right? That she was one of the victims of Nick, and she was a victim of her mother. So yes, she murdered her mother, but people are like, oh, but you know what? We feel sorry for her, right? So yeah, that's the difference. So Karla tried to go away. She tried to go away. And there's just a few seconds left of this.
Still, to this day, living in a suburb in Quebec, I think very close to Montreal. And you want to know the best part of it? She was volunteering at her children's elementary school.
Can we see Gypsy trying to do that in the future? I don't know. You tell me.
Obviously, parents expressed extreme outrage that a convicted killer with her past was allowed anywhere near their children. In 2000,
And a lot of people have brought up the one video about Gypsy and offering the daughter up, and people saying, would Gypsy get the same response? I don't know. Leave a comment for me. Do you guys think that there would be an uproar like there was an uproar over this Karla Homolka woman? So the other thing that's interesting about Karla Homolka, remember we were talking about hybristophilia, the attraction. We were talking about Ken and Ryan and the attraction possibly they had to a killer, right? Well, here it says, I've never seen hybristophilia talked about in an actual individual case. And so this caught my attention. Graham Glancy, we're talking about Karla, obviously, a forensic psychiatrist hired by Bernardo's, that was Karla's husband's last name, chief defense lawyer, had offered an alternative theory to explain Homolka's behavior. In his first book on the case, and then the quote is, she appears to be a classic example of a hybristophilia, an individual who is sexually aroused by a partner's violent sexual behavior, Glancy suggested. The other thing you want to know is she did try to change her name and it was rejected, but also I read where she actually was going by a different name anyways. So she was living in these suburbs, trying to go by a different name, trying to blend in. And this is the difference between how her and Gypsy. Karla got 12 years in prison for it. She took a plea deal. She didn't go to trial. Same thing. Gypsy got 10, Karla got 12. Very similar. And the other similar dynamic is that a lot of people, not a lot, but before these horrendous videos came out, felt like, oh yeah, she has PTSD and her husband was dominating her so badly. She was, psychologically damaged to do these things, until it came out that she was actually partaking. She was actually partaking in the abuse and the murder of these women. And then it was like, oh yeah, no, we don't like you. We're not feeling sorry for you. But the plea deal had already been done. And so she got out. I don't know if she got out early, but she did get 12 years. She got out, got married, had 3 kids, tried to live under the radar. But yeah, there's an example of, right? There's another example of how these women who kill, that for some reason they get mitigating circumstances and they get out. And there's a few different cases I'm looking at like this one that are very interesting to me. So I just thought I would put that out there just to compare and contrast. Is Gypsy gonna, because a lot of people have said, why didn't she just go away? Why didn't Gypsy change her name, go away? Because especially when she, got pregnant, allegedly pregnant, was going to, raise this daughter, wouldn't she want to not what happened to Karla, where they found out she's volunteering at the school and then there's like news reports, I mean, just wanted to show the comparison and the contrasting of those two cases for you guys. All right, let me get to the next part here. Hang in. Before I move on, two more interesting tidbits about Karla Homolka. There was this comment. She did undergo psychiatric testing. The level of her psychopathy, it was marginal, but I've read different forensic psychologist accounts that said she could definitely psychopaths can trick the forensic psychologist. So they know the appropriate answer to questions to not sound like they're void of empathy, right? This comment about Karla, though, kind of, and I don't know, it's just a comment. But if this is true, definitely, she's a psychopath. This woman says, and that's Karla there in the picture. There's no mention here of Carla throwing her friend's pet hamster at a 2-story building, which resulted in its death in her early teens. Her callous bullying of others, and her dominant, bossy personality with her peers. The letter she wrote from prison, mocking her father for still grieving the loss of his daughter, the one she killed, implying he was a loser for moping around about it, and complained he never gave her enough money for her wedding, was shocking. Well, that sounds like a true narcissist and a true psychopath to me, especially, hurting the animals, right? That's like an early sign of that. And to introduce this next part now, we're going to talk a little bit about Gypsy and some things that she did. The timeline is going to come into play here. And also Dr. Feldman. Now, a lot of us had not been happy with Dr. Feldman because he was the first one to say that Dee Dee had Munchausen by proxy. But I want to remind everyone that doesn't mean Dr. Feldman is not a good psychologist or psychiatrist, because Dr. Feldman's diagnosis of Dee Dee, or his alleged diagnosis, right? Because he admitted he had never seen any of Dee Dee's medical records. He had never spoken to Gypsy or seen anything on this case except for what he read about, like we all read about. But his diagnosis of Dee Dee Blanchard having Munchausen by proxy was based on falsely believing Gypsy was not ill. Okay, so let's remember that when we listen to this next clip, because this is going to introduce this next part of the video for us.
In your house. I think there was a little around $4,000 to $5,000 of cash that they had stolen from her mom before she left.
This is Nick's mom and the detective talking, and then we're going to hear from Dr. Feldman.
Did you see the Facebook post where it says, okay, that's right. Well, on Dee and Gypsy's Facebook post that they share, there's some horrible messages that were posted on there that said, like, I believe like they slashed her, or like I slashed her, I killed her, and then I raped the girl, and the girl's dead too. Well, those all were actually posted by Gypsy.
Startlingly, it was Gypsy who went online to announce, that bitch is dead. And to go even further and just.
I'm going to pause it here for copyright. This is, of course, Dr. Feldman now looking at these messages, and this case, and that's what he said. Let's hear what he says about Gypsy here.
Describe a scenario where she was raped is just perverse. It implies a fair degree of sociopathy.
Just the way the girl acted. I mean, how can you do something to your mother or lose your mother and just act like that? I was like, I'm just trying to wrap my head around it.
I mean, they acted like two normal people. Yeah.
That's the end of that clip. That's Nick's stepdad there, Nicholas Godejohn, her co-defendant, and his little brother. So Dr. Feldman, overview, of course, right, didn't know that Gypsy was actually ill when he did give that first, talking about Dee Dee having probably Munchausen. He said probably Munchausen and malingering at the same time is what he said. And that was initial. That was right after the murder. So he had no idea that Gypsy had any kind of a medical condition. But again, later, he's looking at these messages on Facebook that Gypsy made them. You guys know the infamous Facebook post, that bitch is dead. And then the raping and slashing, that fat pig and her sweet daughter, screaming, that whole thing. And he says it shows a fair degree of sociopathy. That Gypsy shows a fair degree of sociopathy based on that stuff. And so, is that the truth? Is that what's really going on here? Well, I don't know. I'm not a psychologist. Again, I've spoken about this, several times, but I'm thinking about that first video I showed you where she had to take credit, showing the receipts of giving. Look what I'm doing. Turn the comments off. Knowing it wouldn't probably be a popular video, turning the comments off in advance, knowing, but still that narcissism, that lack of empathy, not understanding when you do something charitable, you don't go and toot your own horn. That's not appropriate, right? That defeats the whole purpose of doing something charitable, right? Well, you know what I did this morning? I mean, it's no, of course, if it comes up in conversation, I'm not saying you can't talk about doing good works or doing that, of course, in normal conversation, but to actually make a video specifically just to say, guess what I did? Yeah, no. Okay. So I'm going to get to this next part now about Gypsy's block list. What block list? Well, we know Gypsy had several Facebook accounts, right? And we also know that she blocked people at different times. And I decided, well, when she blocked these people, now on the left-hand side, you see Brandon. This guy was close with Dee Dee. He was a neighbor. He was a confidant. He did something specific for them. So that meaning that he was around them a good deal to know who they were. And then the next guy down, we're going to talk about him later. First name Richard. We're going to get to that in a minute. Then you've got Rachel Hall Miller. This would be the person who Dee Dee appointed as Gypsy's guardian if anything happened to her. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it's Rachel, right? Aunt Rachel. Then you've got the other neighbors who have been in a few documentaries, David and Kim Blanchard. Then you have Dee Dee's Facebook, their Facebook page together. The infamous Gyp Blanchard Facebook page there was blocked, and it's going to be blocked on a certain date. And then the next one I included with this guy named David Stanfield. There's been some rumors, gossip. Is that guy related to Mike Stanfield, the attorney? I think this guy was a Visicon guy, as were the Brandon guy, and of course, David and Kim. Okay, they all were in the community doing things. And so all of those people over there were blocked on a certain date. And the date is May 27th, 2014. So these are people who would know, like they're in Dee Dee's life, kind of, except for the David Stanfield now, but the rest of them up there, not David Stanfield, but the rest of them on the left-hand side are people who are in her life on a regular basis. Okay. And so I was like, well, why did Gypsy feel the need to go block these people on that day? And I thought, I'm going to go look at what else happened around that date. And lo and behold, the video that was made one day, so around May 26th, so around the same time, was this infamous walking, I can walk video. I'm not going to play the whole thing. You guys know it.
I haven't showed you before. To show you, years old. I went into the hospital for like 6 months, and the doctors.
So this is the video where she said, I was in the hospital. I had a seizure. I didn't let my mom know. You guys know it. If you're new here, real briefly, this is where Gypsy tells her boyfriend and a co-defendant, Nick, that, hey, I don't need to be in the wheelchair. I can walk. And not only can I walk, but I kind of kept that from my mom, that I had this seizure in the hospital. I was temporary had temporary paralysis, but I got the feeling back, but I never told anyone. I just stayed in the wheelchair because I feared I would lose my mom's love. Later on, after this video came out, Gypsy discussed this. She did not deny it, but she said that you have to understand the psychology of all the abuse, she said, that was going on with Dee Dee, and that's why she was scared to tell Dee Dee she could walk. That was kind of the explanation she gave. But that explanation still is not, no, that video was a lie. My mom knew 100% I could walk. So there's that. So why was she blocking these people that were regularly and blocking her own mom to one of these Facebook accounts that she had. She was worried about what? I don't know. I think it's not a coincidence that the blocking happened one day. What happened one day before Gypsy? So she makes that video, and then the next day she blocks these people that are in Dee Dee's life and blocks her mom too. That so her mom can't see this Facebook page. Now the video is not posted to her Facebook. Let's just say that. But I'm wondering, I know that Nick had access to her Facebook, these other Facebook accounts, and I'm wondering if she was worried he would post a message or he would tell his friend Allie and they would post something on her page about, hey, yay, you can walk. I don't know. I don't know. I just think it's interesting the days that she decides, I'm going to block everyone who's in my mom's life, basically, right? Except for that Richard guy, and we'll get to him in a minute. Now, the other ones on the other side also have a date, and the video that goes along with this one is also interesting, guys, but it's not Gypsy's video, it's Nick's video. So these other blocking of Marsha, who was a very good friend of Dee Dee, these other two people were neighbors. Of course, Aaliyah is the BFF, not BFF, but Aaliyah was a friend of Gypsy, a neighborhood friend. Amy was Aaliyah's mom. And then you got a Glidewell. You've got Dan Glidewell's wife over here, or girlfriend that she's, or maybe it was their joint account. She's blocking them. And then Mia. But Mia's date is different. This other date is 12/20/14. So what did Nick say on 12/20, right around this same time, like 1 or 2 days before? What was the video that was going on? What was going on in Gypsy's life is what I'm trying to say. Let's take a look at this, what Nick's saying here, because maybe she blocked these people because something else was going on in her life at this time. And here we go.
Or maybe it's just my mom, since my stepdad knows the person next door. Apparently, he's supposed to be pretty cool. Anyways, now to topics I want to get to. Obviously, the first one is, Darlene, after I say you can ask me whatever that you need to ask me, you go straight back to a question that you've asked me plenty of times. There's no reason for it. There really isn't. I've answered every single time with the same answer. You know that spell made it to where we're stuck together forever. Even if you wanted to leave me, you couldn't leave me. Even if I wanted to leave you, I couldn't leave you. Yeah, I remember what you said about being bonded together in the fire of love, or that what you said yesterday. Yeah, I get what you're saying. Well, I see it a little bit differently, and that's probably the reason why the things that you've asked me are just like totally unnecessary most of the time. I mean, the things that we've already talked about multiple times before. I mean, I can understand if you need to be reassured about something, but me marrying you should be off the list of stuff you need to be reassured about. It really should be off the list of that stuff. Because if I didn't want to marry you, now think what's done. I worship you completely now. So when I say what I'm about to say, think about this. Okay, remember the one night I stayed on for 7 damn hours just to fucking get as much time as I could with you? Remember that night? Remember it. The thing is that I used to be able to make it to where
I want you guys to notice something here before, and he's going to say something in a minute, and then I'm going to give you what I think was going on with Gypsy right now. He's very disheveled. And what we call the ADLs, activities of daily living. This is grooming yourself. And I've noticed in other videos that even his teeth have not been brushed in some of these. This guy needed reminders to do what's called his ADLs, activities of daily living. And I just, hadn't really noticed that before. This was the first time I'm looking at him. I noticed the teeth before, but now this is the second time. One time, okay, maybe, but now this is the second time I'm finding this guy disheveled, not kept. And sure, we all have our bad hair days, and but the not brushing the teeth, where you can actually see the grime on the teeth, is something that goes to his level 2 autism. Also, not and look, all autistic people are not the same. I'm not saying everyone that's level 2 doesn't do their ADLs. No. There's a spectrum. You guys understand what I'm saying. For him, this is how it manifests. Part of the problems with this guy is he's so in his own mind that he's forgetting to do like the normal routine things that all of us do on a daily basis. And that goes to his capacity to even participate in this murder. He did it. He should be in prison for the rest of his life. I'm not saying that. But man, if the jury could have seen some of this stuff, I'm just wondering, because they were really led to believe that he was dominating her, that he wanted to do the kill. They told the jury he enjoyed it. He was excited by it. I've gone over all of this before, how it's like one text and he's pretending to be this evil guy because she's pretending to be the evil Ruby. And so, yeah, I just wanted to point out that this guy had issues grooming. And that's, not good. Not good. Just goes to the whole capacity question about what capacity did he have to supposedly be the dominant one that orchestrated this murder. Okay, let me go on here. Hold on.
About the multitask, at least this way, the me wanting you, needing you around me, and all the rest of that wouldn't intensify to the point to get too much to handle. But since I've gotten to the point I realize that I do worship you completely, since that time, I noticed one thing. You know what it is that I noticed? I noticed that now when I try to multitask, instead of it making it easier for me, instead of that, it makes me want to multitask in more than one way of being able to either express to you, maybe what I'm feeling, or maybe I do the video, for example, or maybe I do a picture. By the way, I spoiled you just because I felt like doing it. I had to spoil you a little bit. I know you wanted nudity pictures. Well, let's just say I spoiled you with one pic.
I know you wanted nudity pictures. I know. Look, I get, you're on social media and, what's called the dick pic, and whatever. No judgment. Okay. I'm just saying that it's like, she's like telling him, please send me nude pictures. I don't know. It's just creepy. It's just weird.
I might spoil you more soon enough, honey. Maybe next few days or something. But yes, I did spoil you with one specific type of pic, darling. And you'll probably go crazy after you see it.
Oh my God.
It's pretty happy in it. And, no, I think you'll notice the rest of it when you see it. Now, what else to say, dear? What else to say? Thinking. Because I have to think deep.
Okay, I'm going to pause it here. So, what he was saying in the very beginning is she was freaking out about, did he want to marry her or not? Did he want to marry her or not? Right. And he's like, look, I don't know how many times I have to reassure you about this. Yes, I want to marry you. Yes, we're going to be together. Yes. So you got to understand, around this time, she's got the marriage on her mind. She's got it was the driving force. I'm not saying getting married. The driving force in her life, I believe, were these relationships with different men, right? And at this time, she also saw that maybe Nick could come in handy as her tool. She actually drew a picture of Nick as her tool to murder her mother. There's a picture that she has like as a hammer. She's holding a hammer, and on the hammer, it says Nick. It's something she did when she was in prison to show how she was taking responsibility for her crime. And so she literally saw him as a tool, a hammer. Okay. So around this time, she's blocking these other people where there's some kind of crisis going on, where she's bugging Nick so bad about their being married. Do you want me? Do you not want me? Are you sure you want to marry me? Are you going to be with me? Are you sure? I mean, this kind of anxiety producing situation she was putting him through. And so he responded by doing that. Now, the other thing that's interesting, then she blocks these other people. I don't know how it's totally relevant, except if something else were going on, like on Facebook, with her freaking out, because he's like, I don't know why you're freaking out. I mean, it's not only where was she freaking out at? It's not in a video. So was it on Facebook? Was it in messages? Was she posting stuff? I don't know, because she did post stuff that were kind of like, wow, she wasn't shy to use these alternate accounts that people actually figured out were her. She knew there was a possibility, because at one point somebody did figure out it was her and told her mom. So yeah, I don't know why she blocked those people at this time, as some crisis is going on in their relationship. What was she doing on social media at that time? I don't know. Okay. So the next thing I want to bring up is this guy that she blocked, right? Which is interesting because she talks about this Richard guy in a prison email. Now, I know a lot of other people have already covered this. I've heard about this guy. I haven't really looked into it too much. So this isn't new information, but I wanted to go over it because I think it is interesting, her response to worrying in prison about this other guy that she was getting kind of nasty with on the internet, this Richard guy who she describes as a 50-year-old guy. Let me get that so we can take a look at that together. Hold on. Okay. Here is the message. I believe she's sending it to Melissa. She's writing the book. It's March 1st, 2022, close to when she's going to be getting out. She's writing her memoir. I think they're writing the first book, the ebook that they wrote together. Hi, she said. I just wanted to talk to you about a concern regarding the book. I want for this to be as honest to reality as possible. So being open and real about the way I felt and my actions in the past are important. When I was going over events with, and then there's somebody's name yesterday, probably the co-author or the real author, she brought up some of the text on the night of the crime. Basically, in a nutshell, I don't want the relationship between he, meaning Nick, and me to be over romanticized. Other platforms have done that to where they make he and me sound like Bonnie and Clyde, when that is not the case. Very few know that starting in 2011, when I was on my secret Facebook account, so the secret Facebook account where she was blocking this guy and that she blocked this guy, I met many men online and confessing my undying love to each and every one of them, saying things like, you are the love of my life. I was 18, 19 years old and believed I was in love with each one. Okay, I'm just going to pause there. No, I don't believe you thought you were in love with each one. No one feels like that. Every guy that you meet online, you're professing undying love. Sounds like a manipulation tactic to me. Okay, she goes on. I was professing and believed that I was in love with each one and would being one of them and the main target of my obsession after the night I ran away to be with him. She's talking about Dan. However, just because I was infatuated didn't stop me from flirting and even enticing other men online. Now, why is she saying this? She's scared it's going to come out, right? She's scared that some of these other men might come forward, or they're going to find text, or they're going to find stuff. She's not sure. I know she tried to delete as much as she could of the stuff she was doing online, and run up to the murder, because she knew, at some point maybe this computer would be confiscated. I think she even hammered one computer, and Nick got mad because she hammered her laptop. She says, I met someone as old as 50 plus. His name was Richard from Missouri. My mother found his and my conversations on Facebook. When she eventually caught me using Facebook on her laptop, she actually called him on the phone and to threaten calling the police, claiming I was underage. He never spoke to me again. My point is, young and maturing beyond Disney fairy tale movies, the concept of true love was blurred to me. So any man would have received such claims of love from me. And that is what I want to showcase, rather than being in love. So she actually wanted them to say this in the book, that She was professing love to so many men because she had this fairy tale idea in her head about love. Well, the Disney fairy tale idea about love is that you have one true love, not 82 true loves. Okay? So I don't buy any of this. I think this again is her worrying about how she's going to look, and so that's why she is, writing this to Melissa Moore. I was not in love. He just was another object. She's talking about Nick. Or is she talking about this guy? Let me see. My point is, I was young, mature, and beyond Disney fairy tale movies. The concept of true love was blurred to me. So any man would have received such claims of love from me. And that is what I want to showcase rather than being in love. I was not in love. He just was another object of my obsession to have someone love me. And that idea of Prince Charming that I placed on so many others before him. So she is talking about Nick there. When in reality, my relationship was very unhealthy and toxic. It was dark and fucked up. And all I ask is to be true to the facts and feelings that occurred. You all are doing an amazing job. Trust you all 100%. Okay. So the thing about this Richard guy is there is some discussions I found where he possibly had a criminal record back in 2006, 2007. The problem is there's 21 Richard in his last name found in the state of Missouri. I don't want to say, who, I just don't, I'm not sure. I'm not sure 100% about the record. It's possible it was him, but I can't say 100%. So, when you're talking about, crimes that someone has committed, I think that you should, say it 100%. You should know 100%. They were domestic violence and some kind of a sexual assault. Again, I don't know if it was this guy. It's a possibility it was, but the other weird thing is back in 2006 and 2007, this guy's public defender was none other than Mike Stanfield, who would then a few years later become Gypsy's public defender. Coincidence? Probably, because this guy, it happened in 2006, 2007. And, yeah, I don't think Gypsy was talking about this guy. Like, it's just too many shades of gray to go from how would Mike, you guys know what I'm talking about. Was there's this conspiracy behind the scenes that because this Richard was briefly involved with Gypsy, does that mean that somehow Stanfield became her attorney? I don't, for what purpose, for what reason, even if this guy is the guy, one and the same, which I can't prove at this point, but it's interesting. It's interesting that she blocked him at the same time she blocked all the other people around the walking video. So he was one of the ones she blocked over on. It's interesting. She still was friended with him. It's interesting. She was still Facebook friends with this guy in 2014 and 15. 14. Yeah, up to 14, because that's when she blocked him. So even after she met Nick, she was, she still had this guy as a friend. Probably she didn't remove friends, but whatever. There's a lot to discuss there. And especially the way that she wanted to make sure that Melissa knew that there was lots of guys, lots of men that they could find after 2011 that she was professing undying love to on the internet, and probably doing a whole bunch of other things based on her past behavior that we know about, right? That we can prove the way she was online with these guys. Okay. So there's that. All right. What else do I have for you guys? All right. Well, I thought I would take a look at just one other thing when we're talking about Gypsy and her lack of empathy with the charitable giving, that whole theme that we're talking about here. Let's take a look, and I hope this doesn't get copyright struck. If it does, I apologize. This is going to be a video of Ryan discussing how he found out that like a few days after Gypsy leaves him, that she's with Ken, like a few days. Okay. And here is that clip. I will be stopping it. Okay. Hold on. Let me bring it up. I'm sorry. Did I say Nick? It's Ryan. I don't know who I said. It's Ryan, obviously. Okay. Here we go.
They're like, hey, I miss you. I really wish you'd call me or whatever. Da 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 da. And the first thing she does is send me a picture that people have got that released of her and Ken.
Okay, so he's going to show this picture. Obviously, she has just left him. She has just left him, and here is the. I just can't believe being so tone deaf and having no empathy. Okay, no empathy of what she chose to do here.
This is it. Ken came to visit. Her not wearing her ring. I said that was evil.
You know what? Did that have to go on social media? No, she knew he would see it, obviously. Why do that? Why hurt someone like that? Why hurt someone like that? I don't get it.
She wrote, we just hung out. It was surprising, to say the least. It was, but in my head, I was like, of course he came.
Yeah, of course he came. Yeah. I mean, at least he is recognizing that, like, yeah, no brainer.
And she goes on to tell me that, don't worry, we're just friends.
Don't worry, we're just friends. I'm not wearing my wedding ring, by the way. I'm not wearing my wedding ring. And I want everyone to know, knowing that the press is even following her. The media is following her social media. I mean, knowing that's not going to be like really a good look, is it? What? No words.
I wake up to the next day, I see them get matching tattoos. And when you put them together, it's a heart of two huskies.
And that gets in the press. TMZ's covering it. It's everywhere, right? I mean, if you just left your spouse, right? And wouldn't you be like flying under the radar if this is what you're going to do? I mean, wouldn't you be flying under the radar, not wanting anyone to know? Number one. Number two, wouldn't you not want to hurt the person you've left? Wouldn't you? That's what she claimed. I'm so sorry I'm hurting you. I don't mean to hurt you. Are you trying to hurt? Or do you just have no empathy? Like you can't fathom it. It's not part of your mental makeup.
The dog they always talked about getting. So what I do is I take a picture of our actual dog, Pixie.
And here's Pixie. Pixie's a theme in this video.
And I said, are you really going to take that dog over your actual dog that we bought together that's here right now?
Oh, Pixie was so little. Look how cute. Oh.
And she couldn't say no. The matching tattoos broke my heart.
Yeah, I can't dog a guy when he's crying like that. That's really hurtful. I can't imagine your wife's just left you. You're heartbroken that she's left. And now it's all over the media what she's doing with this other guy. Why? Why do you do that? Why would you do that?
It was like, did I mean anything? Did I mean anything?
That's the clip. If it got cut out, it showed Ryan crying. It showed him very upset. It showed calling her evil because they got the matching tattoos. TMZ covered it. It was all over and it was in his face. It was right in his face, and she had just left. It was like, boom, she left, and then this is happening. So, yeah, that wasn't good. Not really good. One more reminder that Gypsy always tells on herself. You guys will remember this oldie but goodie, just to round out the whole lack of empathy.
If somebody wants to talk shit to me. 32 freaking years old. I have a right to stand up for myself if somebody wants to talk shit to me. Now being as I am on parole right now, I can't do that. People got me by the short and curlies on that one. But best believe I won't always be on parole.
So the need for revenge, the need for, you know what? I'm constrained right now because I'm on parole, but once my parole's over, hey, fair game, right? Fair game. I'm going to come, I'm going to do this, do that, best believe, right? That kind of an attitude that and saying it publicly, warning people. When I get off parole, hey, yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot to take in. She is in her giving video that I started this out with, it is just kind of comes full circle, that we see when she first gets out. She's in the limelight. She's the darling of the media at first, right? And then she starts opening her mouth and people start hearing her comments and people are like, what? That the murdering comment, I don't identify as a murderer is where it started. And every time she tries to come back to prove something like, well, I'm a giver. I'm given to charity now. Look, here's the receipts. It has the opposite effect, and she had to turn off the comments. All right, guys. Speaking of comments, I have some comments from my last video that I wanted to go over with you. So hang in there. Let me bring those up. You don't want to miss them. They're really good. All right, guys, this comments are from my last video. Why did she do it? About the motive. We were discussing the motive, and here we go. At Tawny 6569, lots of likes on this one. She needs intense psychiatric help. I bet she melts down like this with Ken all the time. And another one from Tawny that got a ton of likes. She did think she would inherit the house and any life insurance Dee Dee had, plus the car. And we were talking about the motive. Was she anticipating that? And Tawny saying, yep, I think she was anticipating that for sure. Then we've got one of our members at Bella Dana who says she was an adult. It doesn't matter if she had permission. She needed permission to go financially support, not permission. She needed to bring Nick into Dee Dee's home. What she's talking about is the one video that I brought out in that last video that we're commenting on here, where Gypsy is in reality for once and contemplating and is very upset because Dee Dee had put the kibosh on the relationship, that Dee Dee wasn't going to financially help Gypsy with this relationship. She wasn't going to give them a place to live. And so that's what Bella Dana is talking about here. Next comment, Dazed and Confused. Another member says, she YouTubed how to wash a wig. Laughing my ass off because we all know this is the first wash ever. She's talking about Gypsy's video where she's washing the wig to give it away for charity. Again, highlighting her charitable giving. And Dazed and Confused is saying that wig's never been washed. Come on. Next up, we've got Aunt Mooncat. And Aunt Mooncat says she did the exact same thing with Ryan. Remembering the show when they were in the car and she was telling them how she deserves someone that he deserves someone that can love him like he deserves. And I want to say she was even crying then. I think it was all a manipulation tactic. I agree, Mooncat, that this is what she does, right? And this actually dovetails into what the video I just showed of Nick, where Nick is like getting tired of her saying, yeah, I'm going to marry you, because Gypsy would make these videos. You just deserve someone better than me. I'm not good. You're so wonderful. You're perfect, right? It's the same tactic she used with Nick, she used with Ryan. And next we got at Laura Lee 8935, who's also a member. She says, I think she killed her mom because her mom was going to kick her out. I think she thought she could kill her mom and get away with it and live in the house. Well, Laura Lee, you're another one that believes that, just as Tawny does. So yeah, a lot of people believe that. That got 257 likes. So I think the consensus is people believed that Gypsy actually thought she'd get the house, the car, and whatever money Dee Dee had in the safe. Okay, just a few more comments here, guys. We got at Lisa Lucas 2614. She makes me absolutely sick with her constant lying. I can't believe there's still people out there who believe this verified pathological liar with a fake abuse story. And next up, we've got at Ron2, who said, this one got a lot of likes too. Dee Dee was getting very sick and the roles were about to be reversed. Dee Dee devoted her life to Gypsy and her medical problems, but Gypsy could not be selfless enough to do even a fraction of that. 113 likes on that one. Great comment at M. Ron. And next up, we've got at Tara Kennedy 707, who wrote, she was 23, telling Nick she couldn't date until she was 21. Laughing emoji. I love it, Tara Kennedy. Yes, it was classic Gypsy Rose Blanchard. And last but not least, this is kind of a heartfelt message here from at the Beauty in Life 6. She writes, my son, who is around Gypsy's age, had a feeding tube. She called hers a Mickey button. That's exactly what he had. If she is referring to changing her Mickey button as a surgery, that's a complete lie. You have to change it once a month. You do it at home, and it takes under 60 seconds to do it. What this comment is referring to is during Dr. Phil's interview, Gypsy said she was fed up with having the feeding tube, was upset that her mom wouldn't, mom said she still needed it or something, and that she called it a surgery she had had over and over and over again. And so that's what this comment is about, that this at the Beauty in Life is saying, look, my son had one, and no, you can do it at home and it takes 60 seconds, and that's not a surgery. Okay, she goes on to write, it's very similar to changing out an earring. The difference is the Mickey button stays in the stomach through a balloon you blow up with air from a syringe. When you need to change the tube, you use the syringe to suck the air out. It pops right out like a stud earring. Yeah, this is exactly how catheters work too. Urinary catheters. You blow up a balloon in the bladder and the tube comes out, and that's, well, okay, too much information. She goes on to say, I had changed my son's every month for almost 3 years, and it was fast, easy, and over in a minute. If she pulled it out secretly, within a couple of hours, it would close up. My son accidentally did this once, and his hole was almost completely closed. I took him to the ER, and they opened it up with a tool within seconds, no surgery, no anesthesia. They pried the hole open and reinserted his Mickey button. It's painful, but quick, and would be a way for an older child person to get pain meds prescribed. Oh, interesting. Okay, interesting. Food for thought from a mother who went through that with her child. Well, at the Beauty in Life, thanks for that comment. Thanks for that little tutorial on it. That solidifies what I always thought about the changing of the feeding tube. This was not a major procedure. I knew it wasn't a major procedure, but it's something that Gypsy liked to say. I had that surgery over and over and over and over again, and it's not even barely a medical procedure at this point, right? So thanks for that at the Beauty in Life for that little tutorial on changing feeding tubes. Interesting. All right, guys. I think that's going to do it for me for today, for this Thursday. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you enjoy this content and you're not subscribed to my channel, consider becoming a subscriber. And if you really, really like the content and want to, and are passionate about this case and want to support us in a bigger way, consider becoming a member. All right, guys. That's going to do it for me. Keegan has abandoned me. She just got down a minute ago. She's roaming around. But for me and Keegan's and for everybody at the Becca Scoops channel, have a good night. Becca Scoops out.